Hakadosh, Erev Tov, we're just going to start Masechet Ketubot. We're starting the second chapter. Today's daf is actually going to be Daf Zayin, which is 16, but we're going to start the Vav Mubet again, just the Mishnah. The Mishnah starts, which is the second perek, Hayisha shenitar melau nitgarsha, a woman that she gets divorced or widowed. She comes and she says that she got married when she was a betulan satani, and therefore she gets 200 zuz. Behu omer, and he only says no, that he got married to when she was an almana, and therefore she only gets 100 zuz. If there's witnesses that she came out right from the house of her father, just like a betula, which is beinumah, which we're going to explain in the Gemara. What does it mean beinumah, right? Which is usually the veil. V'rosha parua, and her hair was down, which means that obviously she didn't carry her hair beforehand. Ketubata matayim, so then her ketubah is going to be 200. Why? She has a din. The witness is already good enough. Rabbi Yochanan says, even if they have proofs in the fact that they were handing out to children, klayot, toasted kernels, and there's already a deem for that. That's already a raya that also was they only do that usually during weddings of betulot, and therefore it's a proof. Yeah, says again in the Mishnah. However, Rabbi Yoshua comes and he's modeh to his friends, and he says, imagine right now somebody comes and he says, this field belonged to your father, and I received it from him, that he's going to be believed. Because the mouth which prohibited it was the mouth which permitted it. What does that mean? Since right now he was one that said it's your father's field, so then really who does it belong to? It belongs to you, right? Which means that I need now a proof to take it out of you. So what? But I was the one that said it belonged to you. So hapeshe asar alai is mashematir alai. However, though, he says in Yeshadim Shishalim, but if there's witnesses that belong to the person's father, there's no pesha asar. Why? Because once there's a deem, they don't need me. If they don't need me, there's a deem that belongs to the guy's father. And now I'm just going to say, I bought it. Bring a proof. I have to bring a proof. He's not believed because since he doesn't have the klal of a pesha asar or a pesha itir, he's not going to be believed. And he needs a raya. Says the Gemara. Yeah. Says the only reason why we just said that if there was a deem that she came out with the enuma, which means she came out with the rosha parua, so she gets 200. Haleka edim, but if there's no edim, bal me'eman, the husband will be me'eman. Why? At the end of the day, who's taking money out of who? She wants to take 200 zuz. Correct? So she's taking money away from the husband. Whether it is that he died and she's taking it from the Yerushim, or whether he divorced her, but she's taking away money from him. So you want to take away money, you have to bring the proof. The onus is on you to come in to bring the proof. So what do we just say that this Tam Mishnah is not Gamliel? Because Gamliel said above that if a woman that she said that she didn't have the betulim, and there was a safek if she had an onus before the irusin or after the irusin, she's believed to say Mishirastani Nenasti. Why? Because if it's going to be Gamliel, she's always believed. So she's believed. So obviously this Mishnah is not like Gamliel. So says the Gemara, no. Afilu tema Rav Gamliel, even if you want to tell me that it is Rav Gamliel, Akal lo kama Rav Gamliel hatam. When did Rav Gamliel say that? Ela b'badi v'shema, when she's a body and he's a shema, meaning he's not sure what happened. So he doesn't know when she lost her betulim. She's a certain. She says, I lost my betulim in this date. And it was Mishirastani Nenasi. So she's believed. Bari v'shema. Aval hachya, but here in our Mishnah, bari lo aman. They're both bari. She comes and she says, I got married when I was a betula. He comes and he says, right? No, you got married when you were an almanah. So he's a certain and she's a certain. He's a bari, she's a bari. Since they're both bari v'bari, bari is for sure, right? Shema is maybe. So since they're both bari, Gamliel never talked about that. So says the Gemara, you're right. So what was the doubt then? When you ask the question, what was the question, Michal? It's so open. Yeah? It's so open that we're talking about. Obviously, habari. So what's the safek even? It says, no. Since the majority of women, they get married when they are betulot, so therefore, kibari v'shema dami. Maybe it's like a bari v'shema. It's like a bari v'shema, but he says, no. The fact that he's also bari, it becomes bari v'bari. This is also logical. If you're going to tell me that we're talking about in Rabbi Gamliel that he's going to be modeh, so then it's actually going to be good. Why? Because if you're going to say like the tirutz of the Reisha, which means that there's no hoda'ah that's modeh Rabbi Gamliel to Rabbi Yoshua in the case of Bari Ubari, So then we actually understand when it says Umodeh Rabbi Yoshua in the Seifa. But if you're going to tell me Lo Edi Rabbi Gamliel b'Modeh, that Rabbi Gamliel is not talking about Modeh. So if so, in Rabbi Yoshua, Leman Modeh. So who's Rabbi Yoshua Modeh to? Remember, at the end of the Mishnah, we said Umodeh Rabbi Yoshua, but Rabbi Yoshua is Modeh be'omer lechavero, and we brought a completely different case. Now, one second. If we're talking about that Rabbi Yoshua is Modeh, Rabbi Yoshua is Modeh to who? If it's that Rabbi Yoshua is Modeh to Rabbi Gamliel, so then it makes sense. But if you're going to tell me that really Be'emet, Rabbi Gamliel never spoke about such a case, so then Rabbi Yoshua is Modeh to who then? Who's it usually admitting it to? Who's I agree with it. I agree with who? So it says the Gemara, Misavra Rabbi Yoshua Haipir Kankai. Do you think Rabbi Yoshua is talking about on this perek? Right? That's what you're talking about. Amigo Kai. Ba'pirkin Kamakai. Rabbi Yoshua is going on the deen of the migu, whereas he holds that a woman is not going to be believed even if she has a migu, which is going to help her. And therefore, it's adding on in the seifa that Rabbi Yoshua is going to be modeh, that even though here you are believed in a migu, what was a migu? Migu di bai shatik. Migu, that you could keep your mouth shut, which means like this. What is a migu? Migu is, right, is that mal leshaker. Why am I going to lie? Because I'm going to give you a bad reasoning or a bad tana, when really, be'emet, I could have given you a better one. That's a migu. Believe me when I say A, because I could have said much better, which is B. But I've got a better migu. You know what the better migu is? Which is keep your mouth shut. If you keep your mouth shut, then what happens? You always win. Right? What is that? That means that if a person would have kept his mouth shut, he would have been believed. Why? Because he didn't have to say anything. And the fact that he opened up his mouth, he was the one that put his foot in it. So now, says Rabbi Yoshua, even though I told you that even if a woman has a migu, she's not going to be believed. Here, the migu di bai shatak, which means migu that you could have kept your mouth shut, you wouldn't have said anything. You're believed. If you're right now in a field, yeah, and you don't say anything, yeah, and nobody tells me anything, is this my field? Of course it's my field. If I come and I say, by the way, this field belonged to your father, I put my foot in it. Why? Because now, 1 second, what's it? Belongs to my father. And what are you doing in my field? What are you doing in my field? I bought it from your father. Okay, so now we're going to believe you. Why? Because if you didn't say anything anyway, it would have been yours. But now if you have witnesses and I don't need you anymore, so now I'm not believed anymore because now it went away, the entire thing. So says the Gemara, ahai, on which case are we talking about? Ilema, if you're going to tell me now, aha, on the case of the Mishnah, which was Haita Meuberet, imagine right now she was pregnant. Imagine right now she's pregnant. And they told her, what is this child? And she says, which from this person is a Kohen. Rabbi Eliezer say, she's believed. Rabbi Yeshua says, then we're not living from her mouth. What's the migu? Her stomach's in between her teeth, which means that she had already relations. She's pregnant. We know that she had relations. So what's a migu here? But no, it was on the case where we saw her speaking to someone. And they told her, what's happening with this guy? So this person is a Kohen. Rabbi Gamliel say, in a minute she's going to be believed. Rabbi Yoshua says that we're not going to be coming and living from her life, from her mouth. What's the migu there also? I understand that according to Zire, the pshat in medaberet was yichud. So then it makes sense. So migu di by amrani lo nivati. She could have just said, listen, I didn't have relations. So now she said that she did have relations, and she's going to be believed. But according to Rav Asi, that medaberet means nivelet. So my migu. So what's a migu exactly? Obviously, there's not a good migu. There's now the Gemara, but according to Rav Asi, we just said was medaberet nivelet. So then what's a migu? But rather it's going back on this case. Imagine right now she comes and she says that she's a mukatetz. And he says, no, you're not mukatetz. It didn't come out naturally originally. You had relations with someone. Rabbi Gamliel say that she's going to be believed. Rabbi Yoshua says that she's not going to be believed. We don't live by her mouth. What's the migu? I understand according to Rabbi Elazar that he's going to say b'manav lo klum. The machlok between them is b'mana and nothing, which means that she says that she should get a mana because she's a mukatetz, and he says you should get nothing because be'emet it's a mekach taut. So migu de ibaya amra mukatetz because she could have just said mukatetz tachtecha. If she would have said that I'm mukatetz under you, so then itla matayim she gets the full matayim. That's the migu. And instead of saying that, Ka'amra meikara, she said I was a mukatetz before getting married to you. Meaning like this. Remember that there's a year between the kiddushin and the nisuin. She comes and she says she was a mukatetz. When was she a mukatetz? Before the wedding, before kiddushin. He comes and he says, Ma pitom, you're mukatetz. You had relations with a man. Fine. Here's a migu. She could have said, I became a mukatetz now, within this year. Now, if she became a mukatetz within the year, he loses out. He has to pay the full 200. The kamar meikara, she said from the beginning, that she only gets manas, so she should believe. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, that he says, that the machloke between the husband and the wife is that she says that she should get 200. And he says that she should get 100. What's the migu then? At the end of the day, there's no migu. Because she comes and she says that she wants the full blow. She wants the full 200. And he's saying only 100. So there's no migu. But there's another case then. Imagine right now a person gets married and he didn't find that she has betulim. She comes and she says that she was violated from the time that she became engaged, which means that she's already married. But she was violated. It's your sadeh that got flooded over, so it's your mazal. He says, no. It was before, right, the engagement, and therefore, mekach taut. Said that she's going to believe. Rabbi Yeshua says that we're not going to believe by her words. She could have just said she's a mukatetz. Because when she says she's mukatetz, she's still permitted to get married to a kohen. The ka'amra nenasi, now that she says she was violated, pasla nafsha mikuna, she becomes pasul for a kohen. Why? Because we don't know who was the guy that had a relation with her. So the fact that maybe it was somebody who was pasul, he violates her from the kiuna. So the fact that she came and she said something which violates her from the kiuna, it's a migu that she should have said, listen, it was a mukatetz, and then you believe her. That's what Gamliel said. She's going to be believed. The Kamar Mishum and Gamliel, and Yeshua comes and he says from Gamliel, in this I agree with you. With that migu over there, I'm arguing on you. Which means by Mishirastani Nenasti, he's going to argue and say he's not going to be believed. So Michti says the Gemara, but 1 second. Hai migu, vai migu, they're both migu. Maishna, hai migu, vai migu. What's the difference between the two migus? What do I care about the difference? One's a migu, another one's a migu. They're all migus. So he says, no. Hacha, but our case of the Sadezu Shel Avicha, En Shor Shachut Lefanecha. There's no ox which is slaughtered in front of you. What does that mean? There's nobody here. No, there's nobody here which is meorerat via. Nobody's coming and saying, what are you doing in this field? How are you here? What are you doing here? Nobody said anything. Nobody's challenging. Everyone's quiet. So therefore, in that case, you're going to be believed with a migu. Why? Because you didn't have to say anything. Why did you open up your mouth? You're opening up a can of worms. What are you doing? So I'm going to believe you. Hatam over there, Mishirastani Nenasti. The ox is shachut lefanecha. He's coming and he's saying you're not a betula. So now no. Mishirastani Nenasti. You have amigu. You could have said mukatet. No, but here's shachut lefanecha. So that's why you're not going to be believed. So says the Gemara, the kevan de rov nashim betulon isaot. Since the majority of women they get married betulot. So even if there's no adim, what do I care? At the end of the day, we go after the rov, and the majority get women to get married when they're betulot. Kamanu, they should have ketubah of 200. So Ravina says, Mishum dikalmem rov nashim betulon isaot u'miut almanot. Says no, the majority of women that get married are betulot. There's a minority which are almanot. The cholani said betula yesh hakol, but if you get married to a betula, there's always a kol. Meaning everyone knows about it. Hey, it's a simcha. Says it's a big simcha. Tetzayin mubet. But this girl, since there's no kol, it goes against the rov, meaning that there's going to go against this. The fact that usually a betula, when she gets married, there's always going to be a kol in here. There's no kol, right? There was no voice that knowing that she got married. So itala ruba goes against the rov. So ask the Gemara, kol and ise betula yesh la kol. If right now every betula there's always a kol, so even when the dim come, what does it help? These are edim which are a sheker. Why? Because if she was a betula, there would be a kol. What do I care now about some witnesses? But rather Ravina says, the majority of the people that get married to betula, they have a kol. Vezu in this one, it goes against the rov, which means the fact that there's no kol, it's going to go against the rov. Fine. Then it said in the Mishnah, if you have a din that she came out in the enuma. So says the Gemara, maybe she's going to come out of the bedin from one place. She's going to she's going to go to a few different Batei Dinim and start collecting the money. So Amar Rabbi Avu says, we learn from here, Kotvin Shovar. We write a receipt. Meaning she cannot come and double dip, and start charging here and then charge there. She's going to go to this Bedin, give me the money. Go to another Bedin, give the money. No. You have to write a Shovar. Rav Papa says, we're talking about where they don't write a ketubah. Meaning there are certain places where they didn't write a ketubah. It was a Tanai Bedin. And therefore, for those places that they didn't write it, ketubah, so therefore, that's what we're talking about over there. And some people actually learn it on the Braita. The Braita says, Ibda ketubata, if it got lost, or itmina ketubata, or it was, they couldn't find it. They forgot where they hid it. They hid it. It wasn't that it was lost. They know it was around, but they can't find it. Nisrfa ketubata, or got burnt, or ragdu lefanea, sichku lefanea. Right? So now, if there's witnesses that they started dancing in front of her, or they were fooling around in front of her, that's a chakud, like doing all these crazy things in front of her. They put they used to bring a cup in front of her. Or mapashel betulim, or the mapam betulim. If there's an edim in any one of these things, which means that you see from here, there was a different concept by betula. By betula, they would come, they would start dancing in front of her, and that's ketzah meradim lifnei kala. Ketzah meradim lifnei kala is in front of a betula. Sichku lefanea, they would come, they would do a whole bunch of all these magic shows. That was always in front of a betula. By an almanah, they hardly even dance. They don't do these things. So it was only by a betula. So if you have any witnesses by one of these things, ketuvata matayim. So says the Gemara, maybe she's going to collect in this bedin, and she's going to go to another place and collect another bedin. Rabbi Avu says the same thing we answered before. So to mene kotvin shovar, we write a shovar. We're talking about that they never used to write a ketubah, and therefore since they didn't write a ketubah, they wouldn't write a shovar as well, because basically they didn't have a ketubah. It was a t'nai beti, right? That basically there was no shtar ketubah whatsoever. So there's no shtar ketubah, she can never collect twice. Okay? So says the Gemara, what are you talking about? How could you even answer to me that there was no ketubah? It says that she lost her ketubah. That means there was a ketubah and she lost it. Says the Gemara, no, the katav la'ihu. This husband changed from the minhag makom and he wrote a ketubah. And therefore she says that she lost it. But usually there was no ketubah in that place. So says the Gemara, okay, fine. Sof mapkala v'gavyaba. But one thing is she's going to take it out afterwards and collect. She's going to come to the din. She's going to say, I lost the ketubah. They're going to give her the money from the husband. All of a sudden, she goes to another bedin, takes out the ketubah. Give me the money. I paid you. Where's your receipt? No receipt. I paid. What's going to happen? So says the Gemara, my ibda ba'ul. When it says that she lost it, it's only going to be that she lost it in the fire. Once she lost it in the fire, she can never bring it back. So says the Gemara, 1 second. If ibda means in the fire, that's nisrfa. Ve'od, and only that, hitmina, what is hitmina? Right? Ve'tu ibda lamali. So then why do I need ibda? Any case where it's going to be that she lost it, it's like that she hid it. We're never going to bring it to her until the edim come and say it was burnt. So the one that says that it's going on a braita, and then if it's going on a mishnah, right? That means the one that says that this sugya is going on the braita, which means that ibda ketubata, she's going to be goveh, she's going to collect, right? Al pi edim, right? But only if it's going to be nisrfa. So then kol sheken, then you could say the exact same explanation on the mishnah. But the one that says that it's going on a mishnah, right? When we're talking about that, you don't write a ketubah. Write alone, but not on the right kipushah, because of the question that we just said. What is the pshat of ibda ketubata if you never write a ketubah? Fine. Im yesh edim, next 2 dots. It says over here if there's a din that she came up with a numa. So it says the Gemara, maybe she's going to bring the edei numa to another bedin and also collect again. Then she's going to again take edei numa, right, in another place and also collect. So answers the Gemara, in a place where it's not possible, for sure we're going to write a shovar, which means for sure we could write a shovar. The shovar is a receipt. He paid the ketubah, and then that's it. There's nothing what to talk about. Fine. Says the Gemara, what is the viru lefanei kos shel besora? What does it mean that in front of a betula they brought in front of her a kos shel besora? What is this kos shel besora? My kos shel besora. Barava kos shel yain truma. They used to bring a kos of yain shel truma in front of her as a siman that she's a betula. Kromar. She was fitting to eat a truma because if she was a betula, she would have got married. She could eat a truma, but now she cannot because now she's not allowed to get married to a kohen. So matkifla of papa atu almana milochla truma. What an almana cannot eat a truma? Let's say you had an almana that was married to a kohen idiot, right? Now she's able to. If there was no children, she's not able to go back to eat truma. So Rav Papa, but Rav Papa says, no, Zor Reshit. The reason why it's a Betzorah is because of Reshit. What does that mean? This is the first one. Ki Truma is Reshit. And it's just like Truma is called Reshit, so too this woman, she's a Betzorah, she's called Reshit, the first one. So Tanya Rabbi Yehuda says, Chavit Shel Yamin, they used to bring in front of her a Chavit Shel Yamin. So Amarava Betula, if it was a Betula, they used to bring it at a closed barrel. Beula, they used to bring an open barrel. Mavinin Lefanei Petucha. Am I why? Am I Betula? V'kame Beula Lo Yava Klal? Says 1 second. Why? Why are we going to do such a thing? Niava Kama Betula. If it's a Betula, bring it in front of her. And in front of a Beula, don't bring anything. Says no. Zimnin the Tafsa Matayim ve'amra ana Betula. Sometimes she's going to come and she's going to say she's a Beula, and she's going to grab the Ketubah of Matayim, and she's going to say I was a Betula. So why didn't they bring it in front of me? It's new say because there was an honest, it was a force majeure. Meaning they purposely used to bring it always in front of her. Just the difference was if it's closed or open. If it was open, everybody knew she was a beula. If it's closed, everyone knew she was a betula. But if they didn't bring it at all, she could just say, something happened, a fashla, I don't know what happened, they didn't bring it at all. But really, she was a betula. So no. They would always bring it. If it was a betula, closed. Beula, open. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned to write the kids, how do you dance in front of the kala? So you see, this is what we spoke about before, about dancing in front of the kala. Bet Shammai says kala kemot she is. The kala exactly how she is. If she's pretty, ugly, you tell her exactly what she is in her face. Bet Hillel says no, he doesn't say that. He just says according to the way that she is, but you're not going to praise her with something that she's not going to have. Bet Hillel comes and says no, kala na'ava chasuda. What is kala na'ava chasuda? Kala na'ava chasuda means that you're always going to say that look how beautiful she is. She always has a chut shel chesed in front of her, and this is the way that you're always going to come and you're going to appreciate and elevate the kala, even though it's not really true, but you're going to do this in front of her. With this. No, we're not going to do that, but this is what this is.